values beyond technology, purpose beyond affluence, visions beyond a good life, beyond material prosperity. In short, values that are both stable and important. Where are these values, purposes, and visions to be found? Must people, as we secretly fear, await the coming of some new prophet who will create out of a recombination of old values a new utopian vision for North Americans? Are people condemned to a continuation of old techno-materialistic values with no way out until some Antichrist comes to save us? Are we doomed to live this life as the television commercial sums up? I want you to listen to this in 1983. Go for the gusto. You only go around once in life. How many of you have heard the phrase YOLO?
YOLO!
YOLO! You only live once. I thought we made that up. Turns out, millennials, we didn't make a lot up. But it says this is immensely appealing. That's what we talked about in Sunday school this morning. That it's immensely appealing, but if the church is to fulfill its mission, we have to combat successfully the temptation to join the race to achieve this comfortable lifestyle. God has called us to the ministry of reconciliation. Here's what I want to share with you, and then I'll stop, okay? This is about a woman named Miss Elizabeth Cole. She worked with lepers for several years. And I'll save you the graphic description of it, but it was very hard work, and it was very long, exhausting work. And she found herself in a place of ministry where she did not want to keep giving. And she said to herself, I wish I could trade places with that leper because, Lord, I want to go home and go on to heaven. And if you've ever heard anybody in ministry or in the Christian life where you just get tired, but she sees herself, and she writes this herself, but she writes it in the third person because she feels very guilty, and here's what she writes. She was tired, very tired, and the hospital was so crowded that even the floors and corridors were covered with the sick and dying. The longing for heaven and rest went deeper and deeper as she stood there. A short time following this experience, the nurse, Elizabeth Cole, became very sick unto death. She still longed for heaven and rest, and she felt now that there were just a few breaths left, and she was glad. At that very moment, the Lord Jesus drew himself near and stood by her bedside. She tried to look up into the white holiness of his face, but it was impossible. She could only see at his feet. Down at his feet, there were only a few trophies. And she saw her awful selfishness, and as she came to the Lord empty-handed, and great shame came upon her, and she said, Lord, forgive me. And if it be thy will, let me live and win souls for thee. No difference what it costs. Again and again she breathed, oh, it is all right to be saved and sanctified, but there are more. There are more souls. There are only a few trophies at the feet of Jesus. And she said, for the sake of souls, let us spend and be spent. It may cost. It will cost. But the psalmist David said he would not offer the Lord anything, or offer the Lord something that does cost him nothing. For her dedicated service to what were known back then as the throwaway people, she said Elizabeth Cole was honored by another Elizabeth, the Queen of England, in 1960. She became the first non-British subject to be awarded the MBE, the Member of the Order of the British Empire. Recently, when questioned about it, she replied, it's unimportant. We're all equal. We are all living and working for Jesus. Her life stands as a compelling example to all of us to take the message of reconciliation to the throwaway people in our communities and to show them that someone cares. This is our task. Isn't that beautiful? That's who we are. That's who we are. Doc, I want to show you this. They have a superintendent in there who takes a church after he's been superintendent of a district, and he takes a church, and they said to the church, they said, I hope you don't like tame things. We're glad to have our district superintendent with us this morning. He doesn't like tame things either, and we are so thankful for Terry and Judy. This is our final dedication again, and we're so glad to have you guys with us. I have just a couple of announcements, and then we'll get started. 10:30 on Easter. We're going to start at 10:30. I need 15 minutes to really get warmed up. So we're going to start at 10:30. And next Sunday, I wish you guys could see my dad wrestling on me right now. I'll just see all you dart across, and then my dad kind of dive out the door. 10:30 on Easter, and then next Sunday, they're going to start practicing the bells for Easter Sunday program. Who donated the bells? Who was it? Wendell, that's right. Wendell and Sharon. Sharon's sick this morning. Pray for her. But that was one of the greatest things at Christmas, and they're going to do it again on Easter. So please be here for that. And we're here today. We're going to have a dedication, but do you know why we're here today? We're here to worship. We're here because Jesus Christ is alive. That He is not dead, that He is not in the grave, but that He is here. And, you know, I love the idea of coming to church, but really we're coming to worship. And we are so thankful that you're here. So why don't you stand as we worship together?